Who else is ready to water prison enemies like you're the female version of Zabuza? I know I am. How's it going, everyone? My name is Resist, and we've got another Naraka update to go over as the patch notes have recently been released. This update will be out as of September 15th or 16th, depending on where you're watching this from. And with that said, let's get straight into the patch notes. First things first, we have the new hero being added to the collection, VALDA CUI, and you'll be able to unlock her for 600 gold or 12,000 Te. They're also adding trial vouchers, so you have 3 different chances to give VALDA a test run to see if you would enjoy her before you decide to drop your hard-earned currency on her. With the release of a new hero comes some skins along with the hero, along with a skin bundle that can be obtained through gold. Lastly, it says you can obtain more information on VALDA CUI in game, but I also have a quick video going over the leaks we saw of her if you'd like a bit more information of her right here. Next, we have a new limited time in-game event that is being done called the Mid-Autumn Festival. Players can complete quests to gain a currency called mooncakes and then turn said mooncakes in for some sort of event rewards. It's also similar to the Daruma event we had soon after Naraka's launch, where if players in the lobby stage of Herald's Trial find all these lanterns spread throughout the area, then all the players in the lobby will receive a gift box up to 3 times per day. Last time the rewards were small amounts of Te and spectral silk, so I imagine something similar again this time. Nothing major. Our next addition to the patch are a bunch of quality of life changes. First, we have a small in-game UI update to show that healing is reduced in the final circles of the game. This is a mechanic that's always been in the game, however the UI never actually showed that you had a healing reduction placed on you in the late circles. So unless you had prior knowledge, you'd just be sitting there wondering why you can't heal for diddly squat. Another small change for those of you that play trios is they're lowering the requirements of the Spirit Walker quest to only require to mark 1 enemy to receive the rewards upon respawning. However, this next change may make it so you don't even need to respawn anymore, as your loot off drop may be much better now since they're increasing the drop rate of melee weapons while reducing ranged weapon drops. Now you won't just spawn in to get a musket, 2 cannons, and a pistol and die. For the lab rats out there that like to spend time in free training practicing all these new combos and trying to figure out that new tech, they're adding a couple different new training options: Rage Regeneration and the option to reset your sparring partner. The important one here is Rage Regeneration in my opinion. Rage Regeneration will be awesome for those of us trying to test ult mechanics, as it's a bit tedious and time consuming to have to constantly sit there either attacking, doing damage, or just trying to wait and recharge your ult. It should just make it much easier if you want to practice mechanics that require your ult to be up. Similar to the changes for the lab rats, they are also adding a couple more match options for those of you that love your custom matches in 1v1 lobbies. For custom BR settings, they've added a setting so you can adjust the trove frequency, which pretty much lets you control if you want more or less loot in the lobby. I don't think this change will really do much, as most players don't really do or play full custom BR games unless it's a pro scrim or a streamer custom or something along those lines. As for the 1v1 and custom bloodbath fanatics out there, they've added a weapon damage multiplier. This setting is added for the battle royale mode as well, however I feel its effects in the bloodbath mode matter more, as a lot of players use the custom bloodbath to 1v1 and get mechanical practice in. However, prior to this, the one difference it had from the BR mode was that in an actual game you would have melee resist or something like that from soul jades. This now lets you practice exactly how it would be in an actual game, which is great for those of us trying to get better. Still on the note of quality of life changes, we have a few smaller changes. We can now add friend notes, which some of you may find it useful, however it's a pretty small change. They're also adding a preview video for certain weapon skins. Certain weapon skins changed the looks of soul jade effects in game, so now you should be able to see a preview of what said effect looks like in game. They've also added a distinction between enemy and ally ultimate voices, as it seems players in trios had difficulty at times. And the last quality of life change, but certainly not the least as it's been widely requested, is that players can now change the color of their facial hair when doing hero customization. Onto some things being added to the store. There are additional loot boxes being added. These loot boxes are called Untitled Chapter, and they will be available until the end of the season. They contain a total of 22 new skins that are all epic quality or higher, meaning that there are no blue or rare skins in them. Title treasures are a bit more expensive than a normal immortal treasure at 360 gold a piece, and they can only be obtained through gold. However, there's a guaranteed red or extreme quality drop every 100 boxes, and this pity drop is able to be done multiple times, unlike the original guaranteed drop that comes from immortal treasure that can only be done once. Now on to the changes that most of you come here for, the changes involving the heroes. First up, we have a slight nerf to Timulk, as other players are now able to walk through his ult a bit faster. Unfortunately, Timulk's dominance in trios has sort of had an effect on his solo gameplay here, as he isn't the strongest or most popular character in solo, so it's unfortunate to see him get nerfed. However, in trios, it's another case entirely. For Tarka G, we have 2 slight adjustments, and one of them only affects Bloodbath. For those of you out there that use his 3rd ult variant in Bloodbath, they reduced the rage regeneration, so you won't be able to ult as often or be in a ult for pretty much the entire game during a Bloodbath game mode if you're doing damage. And the next change for Tarka isn't really a nerf or a buff, but rather a change to make his ult consistent and allow him to still elbow while using the wave roll Soul Jade, as currently wave roll I think has some messed up interactions when he's ulting and doesn't allow him to do that same elbow that his ult is a signature move for. As for Viper, Viper's F ability should have better hit registration now. However, the stagger it provides to downed enemies is now the same as standing enemies. This change makes perfect sense to me, as it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever in a game as to why an ability would have a stagger longer if you're on the ground as opposed to someone standing up. In my opinion, in a game like this, consistency is always better. The last hero that's getting changed, just like the last patch, has the most changes of all, and it's Yoto Hime. The first 3 strikes of Yoto's ult now stagger Tianhai's Buddha ultimate. They've also adjusted her ult so that all variants now heal Yoto, while the healing version heals her even more than the others. Lastly, she can now teleport a little bit further in between each ult strike if she throws her blade out. These changes to Yoto's ultimate could make it a bit more useful. However, in the end, her ult is still relatively easy to dodge if you have terrain on your side or you know how to tap dodge well. So I'm not entirely sure if it's going to bring her into the meta. As always, we also have some weapon adjustments to go over, and first up is the dagger. The dagger is yet again receiving a bunch of changes this patch. The first big change we have is that dagger users can now parry immediately after a golden dagger dash, along with a slightly increased distance that the dagger dash now has. They're also allowing players to start sprinting again a little bit faster after doing the dash. All of these add to the dagger's current mobility, which may just bring it to the top in terms of mobility yet again. They're also adding focus armor to soul break and increasing how quickly you could follow it up with other attacks, which may allow dagger to combo even better than it currently does, along with the improved hit registration that they're adding in the patch. All in all, I think that these changes may bring back the dagger as the mobility king in Naraka, and it may even bring it back into like the top of the meta in general. For the greatsword mains out there, the greatsword is receiving some hit registration adjustments for pretty much every type of attack across the board, which should work out well because the greatsword is relatively strong as is. However, sometimes my hits definitely do seem just to fly straight through people. Next up, we have the katana and the longsword. The main change for the katana is that they're adjusting the height of striking enemies mid-air to nerf the current 100-0 katana combos that are going around. And as for the longsword, well, unfortunately there aren't any changes to the current toothpicking combo that's a menace and plaguing the game currently. However, they are nerfing the longsword's parry combo, which easily 100-0'd beforehand, and they're improving the reliability of longsword counter-striking. As for the ranged weapons in Naraka, we have a couple of changes to the bow and musket. Musket's bullet velocity is being increased, which makes sense because currently the musket is pretty much obsolete as the bow travels faster than a musket bullet, which doesn't make any sense. They're also nerfing the damage that the bow does in both charge states, which again makes sense as the bow pretty much makes every other ranged weapon in the game just 100% obsolete. We also have a couple different soul jade adjustments that are affecting the dagger, the bow, and the musket as well. Phantom step will now affect dagger dashes, and nether step now also reduces the cost of dagger dashes. Again, this adds into the dagger mobility, which may just bring back the return of the dagger meta in my opinion. Onto the musket soul jade changes, they are increasing the bullet speed provided by Sunwing Shot, which added on top of the bullet speed increase that the musket is already receiving may honestly make it usable or very strong depending on how fast the bullet now travels. And they are now also nerfing the burst arrow soul jade for bow shot, which isn't massive in my opinion, but it is a very low risk, high reward soul jade, so I do understand nerfing it. Also being added are a few different adjustments and optimizations for controller players. However, I don't play on controller, so I don't really know how these will affect you guys. So I'll just show them on the screen and let you guys take a look for yourselves. Lastly, at the very bottom of the patch notes, we have a bunch of different bug fixes. However, I'm just gonna go to the most important one in here, which is that they are fixing the issue where players will still take damage upon clashing with a longsword focus attack. This was one of the most annoying things in the game, as clashing with a longsword focus attack would sometimes have one of the players take damage, but not the other. And it's just really annoying when you take damage and you're not supposed to. It's just like you get punished for no reason whatsoever. And that's just about everything that the new patch brings. What are your guys' thoughts? Are you excited for the new hero or the weapon changes? What changes do you think they should add to the next patch? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you found the video helpful or useful. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!